So, according to NBC News exit polling, the economy was one of the top issues on the minds of voters as they cast their ballots on Tuesday. Joining us now with charts is former Treasury official and Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Rattner. And Steve, you are looking at the metrics that fueled Trump's win. Let's start with the issue of income. What did the numbers tell you?
Yeah, of course, Mika, this is at the heart of the matter for almost every American. What is my purchasing power? How much can I buy? What's happening to my standard of living? And so let me show you what actually did happen over the last, really, decade or so. But if you go back to 2014, and these are all inflation-adjusted incomes. This is what you have after inflation. Incomes rose fairly steadily at about a rate of 1.3% all the way through the Trump administration. Now, 1.3% may not sound like a big number, but that's after inflation. That's more money that you have to spend. Ignore this. This was a COVID distortion. During the Biden administration, you can see that they actually went down for a while. That was that big burst of inflation that we had. And that lately they've been coming back. And when all is said and done, they were basically flat for this period. And this bothers Americans. And they feel that it was even worse because they don't really see these numbers, this chart exactly, but they feel this, and they don't quite feel this. And so they basically say inflation is what's hurting them. And in fact, incomes did not do as well in the Biden administration as in the Trump administration. We just have to put that out there.
So Steve, let's continue through the charts. So talk about the disconnect between how well America's economy is doing. We hear it all the time. America's envy of the world. Every world leader says they would love to change trade places with the United States. The U.S. dollar at an all-time are moving towards an all-time high. The stock market at an all-time high. S&P at an all-time high. Talk about the overall economy, and then this segment of the economy that you say for working class Americans that you think drove the election in Donald Trump's direction.
Sure, Joe. So, yes, as we've talked about on the show, I think as recently as last week, the American economy overall is doing fantastically well. The envy of the world, everything we've been talking about, growth, low unemployment, and inflation coming down. But let's talk about how it affects the average American. One of the big things that I believe is lurking behind the fact that you have this huge right track, wrong track, upside down poll numbers that we've all seen so much of is the American dream and the question of whether the American dream is still there. So let's just look at this one chart. If you go back to 1940, 90% of young Americans would, by the age of 30 rather, make more money than their parents did. That has come steadily down. Some of that is somewhat natural as we became more prosperous. But it just continues to go down and down and down and down. And now you're down here at 50%. So only 50% of American parents should believe or will find that their son or daughter is making as much or more as they're making at the age of 30. That's not the American dream. The American dream is obviously each generation is supposed to do better than the one before.
All right. And then your final chart, Steve, is about industrial wages falling behind. Tell us about it.
Well, actually, Mika, before we do that, can I do my middle chart, which we didn't
do your middle chart?
Which one? Because it's in the same theme of what happens.
Okay.
So, and all the income inequality that we've had in this country over the last 20 years has led to some very different outcomes. If you're a white child born in the bottom 25th percentile, so now we're back to the famous white working class. If you were born in 1978 versus being born in 1992, on an inflation-adjusted basis, a child born in 1992 had 6% less income after inflation, all that, at the age of 30, than at the age of 27, rather, than a child born back here in 1978. So children are in this cohort of a white working class are making less and less and less each birth year that they have. In contrast, for the people at the top, they've actually been making a bit more for each child born. So you have this situation where children of white working class parents are making less each child year after year as they're born. They're completely the opposite at the top. So let's also compare millennials to baby boomers. I'm a baby boomer, and see what their different situation is. So if you talk about home ownership, baby boomers, 62% of baby boomers owned a home. 49% of millennials owned a home at the same age of 35. So millennials worse off. If you look at negative net worth, i.e. being bankrupt, 14% of millennials are bankrupt by the age of 35. Only 9% of boomers were. If you look at wealth, millennials have on average 30% less wealth than baby boomers had at the same point in their life. But the top 10% of millennials actually had more wealth than the baby boomers. So you have huge wealth inequality among millennials. So these are all reasons why people feel that the American dream isn't what it was supposed to be.
All right, now you can go to it.
Sorry,
right.
Mika. Thanks so much.
Industrial wages. Go.
Right. So I just heard some conversation about this, and you can see it right here very clearly.
Yeah.
What's been happening? What's been happening is that the relative incomes, who's making more relative to the average versus less than the average, has been shifting. It's been shifting in favor of the coasts. We were talking a few minutes ago about the coasts and the blue states. Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, you can see that their income relative to the national average, which was always a little bit higher, has now soared up here. The Midwestern states, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, you can see that their incomes, which were a little bit above, but basically average, are now well below average. Why has that happened? It's happened a lot because of what's happened to the wages of mostly white working class Americans who work in factories. So here you can see a tool and die maker back in 1980 had almost a 20% higher income than the national average. Today, a tool and die maker has about 15% lower income than the national average. Machinists, metal fabricators, welders and solders, solders, their incomes all have gone down to well below the national average. A lot of this has to do with the decline in unionization, the effect of imports, lots of things we can talk about. But the bottom line is these folks are making a lot less money compared to their other Americans than they used to. And so average incomes in the states are also lower.
That explains a lot. Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Ratner. Thank you very much.